Well, I think the biggest thing when you think about the customer experience, you have to understand that it doesn't start at your dealership.
That's right.
The customer experience started at the last dealership they were at, the dealership their daddy was at,
like dealership
the
daddy
dealership
issues.
their daddy's daddy was at. So we're talking about unraveling this this web.
It's
this
literally like
mess.
dealership daddy issues.
Yes, it's
right?
dealership
It's
daddy
like,
issues.
Oh, you're really not mad at me.
That's right.
You started back there.
That's
I got
exactly
it.
right. And so we have to know and understand that. And that's something that has to be addressed from the top down. So we've got to work with the owners of these dealerships, these second and third generation owners. We've got to teach them how to be better leaders, right? Because it really starts from the inside out, just like anything else, right? So how do we look at our systems, our processes? How do we look at them, not just from a customer-centric, but how do we start with our employees and create a better environment for them to work on? So check it out. I like buying cars from guys that are good parents. I like buying cars from women that are good wives.
That's right.
Like I like buying cars from good people. So if we can develop people and hire on character, not credentials, right? Hire and fire on character, not credentials. So if we can start with our people, we can start to unravel this mess as our people go out into the communities and do big things to help develop that trust that our customers need.
All right, we're gonna do the same thing as before, and I'll tell you, right, a lot of people are having a lot of fun, but this conversation matters. This conversation is gonna be far beyond what happens in this room. So just bring it in for a minute. Glenn's looking at my presets. Ready? Watch. That's going to the soundboard.
I need help.
He needs this board. You can ask the sound guy when you're done. We'll get this.
Hey!
We got a heckler. Okay, so I'm gonna give you all 60 seconds to introduce yourself, right? All good friends already, but the world doesn't know who you are. If they don't, they're about to. And I'm gonna start here on my left to the one and only, I've been saying, hold on, I have a chip in my pocket. Look, so Chip's in the trouble.
Chip in my pocket
Hold that
too.
up. I'm gonna try to use this at the table
What's this thing
when we
worth?
leave. This is immortalized on a chip. A to Z Sync made their own swag for this event, and I wish I made the chips. So here we go.
Hey, you
Put all the
working
chips
it?
to
Hey, let
Chip
me-
right now. And Chip Perry, you're an OG troublemaker. Very nice. You're an OG trouble. You've been making trouble for a long, long time. And this is just your latest iteration, but why don't you tell everybody that's going to be listening what it is that you do and what you're about.
Thank you, Paul. It's great being with you tonight.
It's so good to
You've
be here.
assembled an amazing group of people with a great electricity in this room.
Some of the best
It's
people
great
in
to
the
be
world, in
part
my
of it.
opinion.
So I have a bee in my bonnet.
Okay.
I'm a troublemaker. And the bee in my bonnet is all about enabling the customer experience not to be a disliked,
Well, people don't like
hated
it?
thing.
People don't like how it's been the last 70 years?
Yeah, so it's time to change it. And I work for a company called A to Z, and we're a catalyst to help dealers really modernize, streamline, simplify the entire sales experience.
Let me ask you this question. You've been through a lot of iterations in this industry. What do you want your legacy to be? I know we're going a deep question right now because like right now you're fixing this problem. Very important. People should check it out because you're passionate about it. You have a really great solution. What do you want people to remember your impact on the auto industry to
Nice
be?
of you to ask, Paul. So I think that as leaders, the two big things that we do is we create value for customers and we create an opportunity for people to have a better life in their work life.
Yep.
So I think the biggest thing that I hope that that people think of me as is somebody who built companies that created great jobs, that created a lot of value for their customers.
I love it. I love it. Very here. Get a horn. That deserves a horn. All right, next. I don't know. No, I'm saving Kerri. I'm saving Kerri.
I don't know Chip well enough, but I was going to say you got to let the old people and the ladies go first.
No, he didn't.
But I don't know Chip well enough.
But you don't know him well enough to say that.
It should have been youth before beauty, is what you're saying, Glenn?
Well, they were friends. They were friends. Well, thank you, Glenn Lundy, for being here.
Yes, we're done
We'll
with
see you
now.
next time.
He's a troublemaker for sure.
All right. Theme music for Glenn.
Troublemakers.
But go ahead, give yourself the introduction. 60
My name is
seconds.
Glenn Lundy. I am a husband to one, a father to 8. That's right. Also the host of Hashtag Rise and Grind and a 23-year automotive professional, currently working with owners and general managers of car dealerships all across the country.
All right, since I asked you the question, I really want to know, what do you want your legacy to be with the auto industry?
My goodness, I want to continue to be able to create environments where guys like me, with no background, no college degree, maybe a bad rap or a bad record, and maybe bad credit, can step in and have their lives completely transformed in an amazing way where they become impactful, where they're making a difference in the community, where they can be good husbands, good wives, good brothers, good sisters, good fathers, and good mothers. That's what I'm hoping to do.
You're well on your way.
Glenn, you just defined the American dream,
That's right.
Yes.
and you're living it.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, Chip.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chip.
Now, I saved the last one for the best for last. Thank you for making the trip to come here, Kerri.
Oh, I am so excited to be here. I had so much FOMO from Tampa, so I am here.
Let me ask you,
more
what
FOMO.
do you think? What do you think of your Troublemaker card?
I loved it. I was afraid of you drawing me or animating me. And I gotta say, you nailed it. You nailed it.
Well, first of all, I didn't draw it. Because if I drew it, it would look like one of Glenn's kids drew it, one of the younger ones. But I had a very stern talking to my designer, Zach.
Yes.
And I said, Zach, if the women don't look good,
Yes.
I'm giving them all your home address.
Listen, I had Wokan ready to protest if my picture did not look good on
It
that
came out
card.
good.
Important.
It looked good.
Super important.
So, Kerri, tell us what you're about, what you're doing in the industry,
All right,
and then I'm
so-
going to ask you the legacy question, too.
Yes, so I have been working in the car business for 22 years. And I would say
What, since you were
most
like
of-
6?
Oh my God, since I was 5, around 5. And most of my career has been centered on the consumer experience and the digital experience and marrying those two. So I started my career at J.D. Power and Associates, studying auto retail consumer satisfaction. Worked at Edmunds launching their dealer business. Worked at TrueCar with this
You know
man
this
across
guy.
from me. I know a lot about him, and everything he says is true.
You were an
and then
easy
I just
executive.
jumped- Huh?
You were an easy executive to promote.
Thank you, Chip. Thank you, Chip. And then I lead marketing at AutoFi, a digital retail sales and finance.
You're back
platform.
you're back in the dirt now.
I am back in the dirt. My hands are getting dirty. And
You're like, we don't have somebody for that? Right? That was TrueCar life.
No, I
We
need
got
to-
6 people for that.
No, there is no
Kerri's like,
delegating at that level.
me.
So I gotta say, I have a passion for 2 things, and they start with a D: digital transformation and diversity.
Yeah.
And I am all about innovating in those 2 areas.
What do you want your legacy to be in the auto industry?
You know, I want a woman, I want my girls to see me in the automotive industry and say, that business is for me.
Very
Right?
nice. All right, so our topic today is turning the tables on the customer experience. All of you, I see, are people that are doing that in a little different flavor,
Yes.
right? So I think we all agree the customer experience needs some work. Like the last panel said, it's about to flip on top of us as the world changes if we don't change it. So when it comes to customer experience, what do people hate so much, and what will they like so much?
Well, there's not a whole lot that they like. I say the best part of the car buying experience are the nice people.
Like
The
at
nice
that
people
work at the
that
dealership?
work at dealerships that do their best job with a structurally flawed process. That they enable people to walk out feeling respected and well cared for, and have done the best possible thing they can do in the context of a structurally flawed, broken process.
Okay, and so with that being said, what do you think they want? Like, give me the Cliff's Notes. What does a customer want to experience?
Well, I think customers want a very transparent experience, one in which their time is respected.
meaning they don't feel like someone's like holding the cars behind their back.
Yes,
Like,
very-
no, it's good. Trust me.
Very upfront. So sometimes consumers will describe working with a car dealer as being kind of shifty.
Yep.
They got to watch their wallet when they go in.
Count
They
their
don't
fingers.
Yes. So trust is built through transparency and through a shared control. I think consumers realize that it's a complicated transaction,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of moving parts.
Right, it's nice to buy an iPhone quickly, but it's a pretty simple transaction.
They want to
versus
be
a vehicle.
guided through it in a constructive, collaborative, consultative way.
What's the result if we hit the mark? What is the result for the customer and for the dealership if we get it right?
I think when dealerships perfect and modernize the customer experience, what they will do is they will blow up the local market with a positive experience that makes their store a magnet for every local car buyer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Glenn, you take a little different approach because you work with the very nice people that Chip's talking about. Right? And the system kind of comes next, but you focus on the people. So what about the customer experience don't people like, and do you feel like we have the potential to change?
Well, I think the biggest thing when you think about the customer experience, you have to understand that it doesn't start at your dealership.
That's right.
The customer experience started at the last dealership they were at, the dealership their daddy was at,
like dealership
the
daddy
dealership
issues.
their daddy's daddy was at. So we're talking about unraveling this this web.
It's
this
literally like
mess.
dealership daddy issues.
Yes, it's
right?
dealership
It's
daddy
like,
issues.
Oh, you're really not mad at me.
That's right.
You started back there.
That's
I got
exactly
it.
right. And so we have to know and understand that. And that's something that has to be addressed from the top down. So we've got to work with the owners of these dealerships, these second and third generation owners. We've got to teach them how to be better leaders, right? Because it really starts from the inside out, just like anything else, right? So how do we look at our systems, our processes? How do we look at them not just from a customer-centric, but how do we start with our employees and create a better environment for them to work on? So check it out. I like buying cars from guys that are good parents. I like buying cars from women that are good wives.
That's right.
Like I like buying cars from good people. So if we can develop people and hire on character, not credentials, right? Hire and fire on character, not credentials. So if we can start with our people, we can start to unravel this mess as our people go out into the communities and do big things to help develop that trust that our customers need.
I love that. I love that. I've never thought of it from that perspective before, but now I understand. I know what you do, but now I understand what's under what you do.
Yes.
Kerri, you're kind of like a guerrilla impactor. Like it's like like who's that in the ghillie suit out there? And she's just like, right? Like, why is the system messed up? Like, what don't customers like, and what are you trying to do from your angle to fix it?
Absolutely. So there's absolutely a trust gap, right? And Chip and I spent a lot of time studying this with consumers between the car dealers and the consumers. You know, every time there's that profession rating, and you look at car dealers, right? We're at the bottom, right? We're right below the politicians and the lawyers, and that's a huge gap to fill. I think what I would say is we got to blow up the 10-step sales process. All the things that you learned from your GM, your daddy, all those
You're
things.
gonna get in trouble.
I'm sorry, but we got to blow it up. And here's the reason why.
Oh, Grant Cardone's going to come running in here.
Blow up the 10-step sales process. You know what? Yes. And while we're at it, burn your call scripts too, because here's a challenge: is that we are building a process that is made for us, and at the end of the day, consumers want a process that is thinking about them. Okay. And consumers want to buy a car the way they want to buy a car, and what's happening is we've been trained to do it this way, which doesn't allow us to be flexible to meet the customer where they are.
Right, because everything's like this. Everything's flipping, and if you're not flexible, you're just going to stand there
And we've been told that it's a zero-sum game, that if we give the customer information up front, that if we lean into digital, that we're going to lose money on the back end. What I would say is efficiency in the dealership is a problem. It shouldn't take 4 or 5 hours. We can sell more cars faster if we lean into digital. And so we should look at the opportunity and not hold on to that sales process that we love so dearly because it worked in the past.
This belief that I think we all have, and it's based in the fact that our doors are being kicked in from traditionally outsiders of the industry. We have Tesla doing innovative things. We have Carvana doing innovative things, which, by the way, we have every tool in our toolkit to execute as well. And one of the things that's holding them back is franchise law. And laws are made by legislators who are voted in by people. And we just did a lot of talking about people that vote, let's face it, based on their feelings and emotions. So everything that we're talking about is like, how do we affect those feelings and emotions in a practical way by connecting the front line to the system, to detachment from the old way. So if you could say something to the industry right now, and you're gonna have the opportunity to actually say it to a few thousand at least, maybe tens, maybe hundreds, we'll see how this gets shared. You have to tell the dealerships, this is what you need to do if we're gonna stay alive.
So I would say that the current sales process in America is perfectly designed structurally to create the outcomes that it does. And the only way that you can fundamentally change the result, the outcome that people feel when they walk out of a dealership, is to attack the underlying ills in the structure of that process. And those ills are the turnovers, the TOs, the waiting time to get into F&I, the lack of transparency. And I think there's only one solution, only one, to reinvent automotive retail from the inside out, not from the outside in, because as great as digital retailing is, it collides with processes all over America, and the only way this is going to be fixed is through an inside-out reinvention where one person is put in charge of the entire transaction. So it would be what we would want to, how we'd want to buy a car, and have one person, one screen to take us all through it step by step, make it easy and fast.
I love it. Let's get it, everyone. Thank you. Next, what are you gonna say to all the dealers to convince them that we need to change or we're gonna die? What are you gonna tell them they need to do?
Well, I don't know if they need convincing. I think they know they better change or they're gonna die. I think the real...
I think they know they're gonna die. And they feel that more than like, I have to change.
Yeah,
That's what I think, but go ahead.
So ultimately, there's a couple things we gotta throw out. And there might be people in this room that might get offended by this, so I apologize.
Don't do it.
But we gotta throw out that NADA handbook.
Hear that? Listen.
That is the same. That is the same dang book. We've been running for 50 years by the same dang people telling us to do the same dang stuff. And here's the thing. Here's the facts. Here's the reality. And yes, I'm in this world, but this is not why I'm saying this. You've got to ask for help, man, because you can't see it, right? You can't see. You don't know what you don't know. So dealers across the country, I think you see the writing is on the wall, right? Yep. We are under attack. This is a war. If you feel like you are in the middle of a war right now, it's because you are.
You're watching Prince
right?
get picked off.
Simple. It's Carmageddon out there, all right? We watched Wall. It's Carmageddon, baby. It really is. And the only way that you're going to be able to thrive is you're going to have to get some outside perspectives, get some people that know what the heck they're doing, that are leading this industry. Stop going to that same place in DC that they sent people to for the last 50 years and start listening to maybe some of the troublemakers like my man Paul Daly.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I would say.
Look, I'll say this. If you could have figured it out by yourself, you would have figured it out by now.
Yes. Yeah.
Last but not least, Kerri, we're gonna get emails because of you.
Oh no! he said throw away the
They're not gonna remember
guys.
that. You started it.
Okay. All right. So
Hey, I don't have any franchise laws on me.
Yeah.
So here's what I would say. I agree with you that you need help. We need help from the outside, and I would say we have to study industries outside of automotive. Okay, I bought a house that was very expensive, and I did it all on my phone through Quicken Loans, okay? So everyone that says to me that you can't, it's too big of a transaction, you can't, like, we need to dig into that and ask why and look at how other industries are doing it. And I would also say from a people standpoint, we have to think about the car salesman of today, and is that going to be the person that we want to hire for the future? Because to deliver the experience you're talking about, Chip, we can't be hiring the same old people, and we can't be training them in the same old way, and we can't be paying them in the same way.
That's very true.
Because we're incentivizing them to not do what's right all the time. We're incentivizing them to make profit, to bang upside the consumer's head, instead of doing what's going to help us have longevity.
And what you just said, there's an element of that when you have a system and you have people that understand what's the most important, you can all of a sudden take people from any background and other places that they were doing a great job, and you have a way for them to do it. Right? You don't need to go through the old handbook and be like, well, this is how we do it. We put them in the box and we grind them till they buy or die. Right? You're not, get out of here. Right? So I love that perspective. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to make so much from this. We're going to get emails. All of you are going to get digitally lynched. It's going to be amazing to watch. Thank you so much for being here. And people, connect with them, because there's lots more of that. Let's hear it for these troublemakers.